You are listening to the Two Fans and a Bandwagon podcast. And we are too fab.
Yeah, so we'll do episode 5.5, we'll call it. Episode 5.5, Getting to Know Ya. A Chrisless episode with Matt and Dan. I guess I just want to fire off a few, getting to know you questions. And you can feel the same to do, back and forth it here. I thought a real fun one to start with. I don't know if you heard in the news, but that lottery ticket was won in our city, in Sudbury, the Lotto Max. Yes.
No, I have not heard.
Yeah.
That's good news.
Yeah, so anyone listening out there in the airwaves of our mass fandom, Lotto Max lottery in Canada was at $70 million, and the winner was in our city. All $70 million to one ticket. It wasn't like a ticket in BC, a ticket in Ontario, and a ticket in Quebec, all like split up. The winner's just here. What would you do? I know everyone dreams, and I know everyone has and this question comes up around the campfire a lot. What would you do with a windfall of that substantial size?
70 million is a good number, man. I'd like to think that I could donate it and do some good, but yeah, obviously number one in my books is going to be mortgage, bills, and the rest would be fun money and some type of donation somewhere to make this world a better place.
Oh my gosh, with 70 million, the donation, the charitable side of things. Were you there last night at the fire when my dad started talking about like putting a chunk of change into a bank account and like donating the interest? I think you had left by then.
No, I missed that part of the conversation.
I thought it was a really cool idea. Essentially, you get a windfall like that, 70 million. I mean, you're going to be able to give 5 to your parents, 5 to your mom, 5 to your dad, 5 to your sister, 5 to your brother, 5 to your aunt, 5 to your uncle, and still be left with like 50 million kind of thing. You know what I mean? There's a ton of money to go around with 70 million. And he goes, I'd take $1 million, I'd put it in a bank account, and when the interest comes in, I would donate yearly that interest to like a local food bank or some kind of local charity. Keep the money within your city, so that you could see the fruits of that and the changes you might be able to make. I was like, that's good. Like, what's the interest on $1 million? Who knows, right? Depends. High risk, low risk. There's all those stupid variables. But the one thing that came to my mind was like, okay, let's just create a number. And I just pulled a number out of my hat. Let's say $10,000 is what the interest happens to be 1 year. I could be way off, and the interest from that is like 70 grand. I don't know what the heck the interest is on $1 million. I'm not even close to that. So how would I ever know, right? But like, that's a good chunk of change. Let's say 10 grand, right? Like 10 grand is a nice charitable donation to do once a year if you're a wealthy person, I would think. And how would you like to see that money dispersed was the conundrum. Is it, and this is a good question for you too, and you can weigh in on what you would feel you would like to see more. Would you rather see that $10,000 touch as many lives as possible and affect them in a minor way? Like, I got a meal at Thanksgiving directly because this person donated X amount of dollars? Or would you rather have your money substantially change fewer lives, but that change was more substantial? Where it got them the clothes on their back and like a month worth of food and the drive to go get that job interview, and now they have a job. Like what would you rather see? It's a big conundrum, right? Would you rather see your money affect fewer in a more positive way, or more people in just a more blanketed, like, you got a good meal out of it?
Okay, you've really got me thinking now. Like the wheels are spinning here. I have zero business sense, so I would definitely need some type of advisor.
Definitely.
Outside of getting my own life financially under control, you know what? Maybe 200,000 would be what I would need. And you know what? I'd still have to work because I don't know what I'd do with my time. But now you've really got me pondering this. I think the soup kitchen is definitely a good idea, or a food bank. Definitely something like that to be supported. Realistically, I think setting up some kind of, I don't know what you call it. Do you do trust funds or programs to get students into school? Do something with Laurentian, do something with Cambrian, and set something up. I'm not using the right term, but that would definitely be something that would be of interest. Totally on the other side of the spectrum for fun would be, you know what? Let's buy the Sudbury Wolves.
Yeah.
Because what would you need there? 3-4 million? You got 70. Let's buy the Sudbury Wolves.
Be a team owner and buy like a minor league team. Yeah, that'd be awesome, right? Yeah. Totally.
That would be, you know what? If you owned a local restaurant and you own the Sudbury Wolves, that would be enough of a job to keep you busy that you wouldn't need to work. So yeah, if you lived off your interest and you went and did something like that, but definitely doing something to help out students.
Yeah.
I think that would be something very important because, not a lot of people can afford it, and some people can, and it still is a, debt that they're incurring. And if you're talking, $7,000 a semester, if you're like $35,000 in the hole and you're going to be 22, 23, 24 years old, yeah, I could definitely see that something would be beneficial in the city for sure.
But that's what I'm like going back to that first question I posed with the, would you rather impact as many people as possible or few in a more substantial outcome? Like you said, like setting up like a trust fund or some kind of thing that like gets a kid into college, that's a substantial chunk of money that's going to really substantially affect that person's life going forward. Whereas like donating your 10 grand and it buys, 1,000 meals for the city, it's going to touch a lot of lives. But is it I don't want to like discredit buying people food, like giving people at the food bank, they need help and all that. But like, what would you prefer to see your donation go to touch as many lives as possible, or to like substantially affect like a young person's life and send them through school? And you're only helping one, right, with your charitable donation once a year. Or would you rather see that money go in and go to a food bank and feed a vast bunch of hungry people, we'll say? Like, what's a better way to spend that charitable donation? That's a conundrum. We'd love to do both, right? But in some situations, let's say like you win a lottery that's smaller than like 70 million is crazy. You could probably do both of those things. But let's say you win 5 million and you still want to be charitable and help. The donation has to be a little more focused, right? And what's more important to someone like yourself? Is it affecting someone like less privileged, let's say, the pick of the litter person, and like you say, you put them through school? Or would you rather just sign a check, food bank, buy some meals for some homeless and some unfortunate people addicted to drugs and homeless kids and all that kind of stuff? Like, it's a hard question to answer, right? Like, but that's the one that came up at the fire last night. It's like, where would you rather see that one go? Tricky.
Very, very tricky, and I don't think there's a right answer, because definitely if you pick one or the other, somebody's losing.
Exactly, yeah. It's a conundrum though. But that's the kind of like question that those people like let's say a wealthy person that has the 50 million in the bank, and they are still like into philanthropy, and they like to hand out their money because they don't need it all, and they're living quite comfortably, and they're humble and this, that, and they want to give back. They get to make that conscious decision as to where that money goes, right? And that's like a powerful spot to be in life. Like, that's kind of scary to think about. It's great to have that financial windfall of now I'm, a multi-millionaire, but now like this, if you do, like you said, like one of the first things that come out of most people's mouth when they say, if you want a windfall of money, it always comes with charity, for a good reason. We've all worked paycheck to paycheck in our lives, and we understand what it means to struggle. Yeah, but you're now faced with this like choice that's pretty like beyond simple.
Yeah, if you were going to give the money to a soup kitchen or the homeless for that type of situation, that's something that you can just post date 12 checks a year, put the money in the account, set something up, and you could, not to say wash your hands of it, but you wouldn't have to get more involved than making a donation, handing over a check, unless you had interest in working in the soup kitchen.
Correct.
Something else, if you're going to set up a bursary or some type of reward system for students, that could be more one-on-one, and it might be a little bit more rewarding, for lack of a better word, is to see an individual progressing one project at a time. On the flip side, would pave the fucking roads in this city first.
You tired of getting the tie rods have to be replaced? that outside curb lane, eh?
Yep. Yeah. It's a bitch in this city.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, no, it's one of those things like everyone says it, right? Yeah, I want $100 million. I'd set my mom, my dad up, my sister, my brother up, myself, buy a house, take a trip, and then I'd donate a bunch of it. And it's like, but where would you donate it? Have you ever actually thought that much depth? And then, like all the questions come up, like, who do you pick and choose? And that's obviously a personal thing. Like certain people have, like, let's say you were, growing up really struggling your parents really struggled to put food on the table. So you're in tune with understanding what it means to be in that situation. And all of a sudden you have this money. Of course, you're going to automatically go, I'm doing the food, like the soup kitchen thing or what have you, right? But there are other people that have just, I don't know, lived a pretty modest, comfortable life their whole lives and never really had to worry about how to pay the bill or how to do this or how to do that. And all of a sudden they are faced with that question of where do I put that money? And it's just an interesting topic to really go like, what would I do?
Yeah, you've really got me thinking. So we know what your dad would do. I've thrown out a couple ideas now. What would you do?
Yeah, good question. I would... Man, obviously 70 million, probably both those things. I'm not as in touch with, like, let's send the kids to school thing, personally, just from experience with going to college. Wasn't my vibe. Colleges are, big business, right? Universities are businesses. They're there to take your money and maybe give you a piece of paper at the end of it. I also don't know that piece of paper in today's day and age carries as much weight as it did 30, 40 years ago. So, but it's definitely still a good thing. But I think feeding people would be my most, charitable thing I would want to do for sure. And I think it would be as many as possible. It wouldn't be like, pick a lucky family every year that, you get, all your meals for the rest of the year paid for by me or anything like that. Go to the grocery store. Here's a blank credit card that works at the Walmart for you to buy all your food. Like, it would be like, cutting that $10,000 check I'm talking about to the food kitchen and hoping as many people as possible get a meal. All the hungry kids, all the homeless people, the people with drug problems. That would probably be my biggest one, would be feeding people. You don't like to see people go hungry. I might not look fat on the camera, but I'm probably like 50 pounds overweight, so I know how to eat and I like food, right? And it, you see people that actually can't. That's, I get to be a glutton, and you can't even get a meal. It's brutal. So, I think I would like to feed as many people as possible with any kind of windfall of that size.
Right.
Yeah. Either open another soup kitchen or just like be like, you don't worry about having your shelves ever be empty again because I'm going to be signing checks for you guys to constantly have food for this food kitchen, or the food bank. Get as much in there as possible. Now, that might be crazy talk. That might cost a lot more than what we're even talking about. I've never been involved in a food kitchen or this, that, and the other, but...
Yeah. You know what I was thinking about when I was going to college, and we talked about you going to college when we had spoke before. But, I think if I had a chance to go back, would I do something that I was more passionate about being the age I am now versus what I was then? Mm-hmm. And I don't know what you think, but you went and did a course for 1 year and you learned to hate something because it probably wasn't something you're passionate. But if you had a second chance now, and you could go and do something you're passionate about, what would you choose versus what you'd done the first time
I don't
around?
think the stuff I'm passionate about is a course available at a school. Right?
Okay, fair enough.
So, like, I'm a major sports fan. That's why we do a sports podcast. That's like my passion in life is sport. Is there a sports fan course in the world? Christ, maybe somewhere. I didn't look into it. Like I don't, that's not like it's something that's normally, that's not when you're academic things like I'm going to become a doctor. I'm going to go get my ticket to be a welder. That it doesn't interest me in any way, any shape or form.
True.
So I don't think there's a thing out there that I would want to go for school for where it's like, yeah, that's my passion. My passion is sports fandom. It's not a job. And there are a few of them out there. Like there's like the big YouTubers that have been able to turn their sports fandom into a career. By putting themselves out there on. So I think, circling back to those questions you had asked me, why I did YouTube, that was a part of it too, right? It's like being able to, that in a way is like my passion is doing my own thing. How do you get a job doing your own thing unless you're self-employed? And then what does a self-employed job look like in 2020 and onward?
You do everything under a name or a charity, and it would be like, all right, everybody, we know Dan Hibbs is doing this for the food bank. Or do you walk in there, knock on the door, slide a check across, and nobody knows you've done it?
That was my next thing. It would probably be whatever that's called, like inconspicuous. I don't think that's the right term. Yeah, it would be like no publicity around this, please.
All right, so we're both going to fly under the radar because I think I would go that way as well.
And there's a lot of people like that. Like there's the food bank is surviving. Like there's the big names in our city that will like go in and drop the check and do the pictures. It's like, yeah, it's still wonderful. Thank you for doing that. But like they're still running off of the fact that there are tons of people donating to them quietly. And I think I would be a quiet donator. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, we've managed to keep this local so far. Is there something, global? National or something globally? Because 70 million is a big chunk of change.
Yeah, something global to make a big impact.
Yeah.
Maybe, being the sports fan I am, something a little more like frivolously spent on like you said, like put the kids in college. I'd say maybe put the kids in sport, organized sport.
Oh, definitely.
Something like that, because that's something I care about. I think, I got to play soccer as a kid. And that was like my one organized sport I got to play. I would probably do something in that regard as well. No, that's like a bigger scale. Would I still want to keep it local? Probably. Like I wouldn't just go like cut a check for like Hockey Canada to keep them flowing, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's okay. Probably something. That's probably like the other one, just because, as mentioned, sports guy, right?
Right on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's interesting, eh? Like, I woke up this morning and I had that on my news feed, like $70 million tickets sold in Sudbury area. I was like, oh, and then like a little further, like sold in Sudbury. Does that mean it's in Sudbury? No, it could have been a passer buyer that, lives elsewhere or someone visiting. But that was the next thing that came out of my mouth when I heard was, I was talking to Terry. I said, it'd be nice to see that if it's one here, it stays here and then it does good based on the same conversation. Like that they're charitable. They take care of all their loved ones that, let's hope also live in this city, and that money stays here and it does some good for Sudbury. It would be awesome. As someone who didn't buy a ticket and didn't win, it'd be nice to see like that. Yeah, they did exactly what you said, like fix the roads. Not, that's a little bit, memey and jokey, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like they go and they help develop this or that, or they keep the money within the city would be cool. And they don't just be like, yep, I'm moving to Cuba, see you later, suckers. And then it's, good for you, but sucks for the rest of us.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So I want to segue here. In your
Fire away.
moving on to the next get to know you question here. You had mentioned I would keep my job because I'd have nothing to do with my time. Now, you and time are like frenemies. If anyone doesn't know Matt with the time management bug that he might have or might not have.
Oh my God, stop.
I'm gonna bring Matt's time management to the light. I just want to get a grasp of like what I know you've told me before, like let's say like, yeah, we're gonna meet so and so like somewhere and you'll be like, yeah, I was, listening to this song and I had half my cup of tea done and then I looked down at my watch and I went, oh God, I gotta go 10 minutes ago. It's like what I don't want to say it in a bad way, like what made you that way, but like honestly, I'm jealous is where this is coming from, because I wish I was that carefree. That time didn't. I'm kind of I'm kind of restricted by time in a lot of ways. That's why I'm always early and rushy. It's a thing I have where I'm always like, I don't know if you've noticed that with me, but I'm like, I'm on my way. I've left already. I'm there, and you'll be like, whoa, already? What where did your carefree feeling of time come from? Is it something from childhood? Is it something that you've learned to just do because life moves too fast? Like what made that be that way?
I'm going to say I think it's hereditary. I think it comes from my mother.
Okay. So it's always been like...
Yeah, I think it comes from my mother.
Yeah, okay. So she's kind of carefree with
my
her
mom,
and lackadaisical as well with her time?
Yeah, she's very chill. Mm-hmm. She doesn't sweat too much, and she pretty much does what she wants when she wants to do it, and if she doesn't want to do it, she doesn't. But I think we're almost the same same person, her and I. Yeah.
That's good. Like I say, I'm definitely jealous of your time lackadaisical. Like, yeah, I got all the time in the world. You're always like that. It's always like just like, don't worry, man. Like we'll get there. And it's like, if you've seen me, like, remember, when we go to the ball game there, me, you, Jesse, and your brother, and Jesse and I are like itching to get going. And you and your brother, I think it is hereditary, because you and your brother are like, like you barely like having your morning tea, and it's like me and Jesse are like dressed, had our coffee, brushed our teeth, showered, hat on, standing at the door.
Oh no. My brother's like you and Jesse.
Your brother?
Yeah.
I haven't.
My God, yeah. He is more like you than he is like me.
Okay, because I feel like he was pretty chill too. I mean, he definitely eventually got to the like, okay, Matt, let's go. But I felt like Jesse and I, especially, I mean, Jesse with his baseball, he's like raring to go. He loves it and he wants to get there and see every little thing. But it's funny. I'm jealous, I think, is where this is all coming from. I wish I was able to just shut that off and enjoy the moment.
No, I think you know me well enough that you've got a good grasp on who I am. I think my brother was still maybe Mr. Manners because you and Jesse are still new to that environment with him.
Right.
So I think if the gloves came off with my brother, you would start to get to know that he's a lot more like you than he is like me. Oh, for sure. My brother is time, date, organized, prepared. When I do stuff with him, he likes to run the show. I don't have any interest in running the show.
That's
like I'll throw it out. Like
Well, that's
what? When we,
I get you.
Keep going. When we've been to Toronto or Ottawa, it's like, you know what? I've got some ideas. Let's catch the concert. Let's catch a game. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, I am not. My brother's the kind of guy that will
get the tickets,
order the tickets, pick the times, pick the shows. You know what? And I'm good. Like, let's hit the concert and get there.
Yeah.
Let's pub crawl all the way there. Mm-hmm. And then let's hit the game. I don't know why I don't panic, but when I do, I get to the point of panic or anxiety. I think I fire a little bit better because then you go on autopilot and you're focused and you can just run from there. And I probably do it with work and my personal life when it comes to being, push comes to shove, the job will get done, but the rest of the time it's going to get done at my pace.
Speedy Gonzalez. That's why this guy right here runs out of gas on the side of the highway. Just carefree, baby. Man. I'll make it. Amazing.
Yeah. I was trying to calculate 2.5 days, 5 kilometers to work, 5 kilometers home. I'll make it to the next gas station.
The whole way I was laughing. You got your new nickname, Kramer. You ever see that episode of Seinfeld where he pushes the gas?
Stop. No, I have not. I have not seen that one.
Man, that's amazing. No, I'll just say it like it's fantastic. I'm jealous, and I hope there's a time where I reach being able to like shut that off, that angst of like, especially like going on a trip like you just described, like let's go to Ottawa, hit the ball game, hit the this, hit the that, hit the concert, grab the bars. I'm very time management. Like, okay, we got to be at the bar by 5. If we don't leave by 5:45, so we'll be able to have 2-3 beer in that time, and that's what's going through my mind the whole time we're out doing those things. I don't know if you know that, but that's what my brain is doing, and I can't shut it off. Very time oriented, very like boom, 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 boom. It's the only one we'll make it on time, so we could still get into the arena, because there's going to be a 25-minute wait. Once you get into the arena, you're going to want to grab another beer, maybe have a look at the T-shirt shop, and then the opening band will be on, and it's always like, and then I am notoriously early because of that. Early when I could be probably enjoying myself.
No, if I'm early, it's definitely by accident.
Yeah.
But living through this lockdown and stuff, I've never been more cautious, or not cautious, maybe focused, or realized how important self-care is, and how you get to take care of yourself in that manner is different for everybody, but it's really brought it to the forefront, because I've never talked to so many people that you hear that it's wearing them down. They got to focus on something else. They need a hobby, but you can't do this. And I don't think I've ever suffered from that, but the last 12 to 14 months has really made me consider some things that I've never considered before.
Yeah.
And it also makes me more conscious of, when people comment on it and they say they can't do this and they can't do that, or they've actually had, anxiety and panic attacks. I honestly can't relate.
Yeah.
But the last 14 months I don't want to say it's brought me full circle, but I can definitely understand it a lot more, where I would back off on somebody instead of, come on, let's do this with me. I'm being selfish. Come and keep me company. But now I can definitely see how people, suffer through it, and I recognize the signs more. And, to me, if you can do something else to help somebody through it and you can recognize it, all the better. But I think there's a lot of people out there that just haven't experienced it or witnessed it, or they don't have enough on the line that it affects them in that manner. So you just go on. But it's definitely a thing, and I know everybody deals with it differently, but as long as you have an opportunity to work it out, get it out of your system, have somebody to talk to, or if you don't have an outlet, that you look for one, because I've never realized how important self-care is.
Definitely. And I think like describing what I described with your, calling it lackadaisical nature is very in tune with that self-care side of things, because you've been able to, and obviously luckily, if you're saying it's hereditary, your whole life, I don't want to say shut it off, but you've been able to just kind of not have it be a burden on you, like being bound by time or by a structure of your day, right? Like, I don't know how many times you've told me a story like, I woke up around this time and did that and this, and it's like, the production level is crazy for someone. The amount of stuff that you get done in a day is crazy for someone who doesn't have like an itinerary, right? Or like a structured day plan. You'll tell me all the crap you've done, and it's like, whoa. But that's probably also attributed to the fact that you like will have like a 16-hour day, in regards to like you'll wake up at 7, but you won't go to the gym till 10, right? So that's how you're able to cram a lot. And then in between all that, you're probably doing a lot of R&R, right? You're breathing, you're within yourself, you're very not held down by anything like that. So for me, my biggest thing that holds me down in that regard is the time management aspect of me, right? I'm so, I don't know if you noticed too, like when I go to work, I'm like, how many times have you seen me show up like for like a 12 shift? I show up at like 11 and I'll be sitting in the lunchroom for like a half hour and all that. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I can't figure out what to do with that time in between, so I can go there and I wait. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't have that. I'm probably going to be late for my own funeral. And if you're coming, maybe you should pick me up ahead of time.
Oh my God! Whoa! No, that was a good one. Great dad joke right there.
Thank you, sir.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with my $70 million, I'm buying myself a hearse.
Yeah. Get yourself a nice casket too. Okay.
Yeah, and then we're good to go. Anything after that?
All right, I think we got time to squeeze in one more cheese ball question in here. Let me just scroll through a list of some silly get to know yous here.
Fire away, brother.
The first one was kind of like not like a generated question, the lottery thing, but and then same with the time management here. But I've been scrolling through some lists of those cheese ball get to know you, like great questions to ask in an interview or in a podcast, and I want to find a good one here for you. Fun questions to ask. Here we go. Let's go through these fun questions to ask and do one more that's related to you. And then we can bounce back and forth here. And oh my God, that's a lame one. I'm not even going to bring that one up.
Okay, while you're Googling, I want to know something about you.
Oh, no.
If you could have dinner with one person for 3 hours, dead or alive, from history, wherever, who would you be going for dinner with?
Definitely an athlete. All right.
Okay. While you're pondering, I'd be going for dinner with Gord Downey and probably smoking some big fat ones after for dessert.
Gord Downey. Yeah. What an influential man who
I'd like to pick his brain.
Who
and
really
chit-chat.
became what a wonderful person at the end of it. You ever hear some of his interviews on, like, basically you'd say like death row of life with his diagnosis? How humble he became, and like how thought out and well, like he really, man.
No, I have not.
I should send you. You wanna well up and have a sad night? I'll send you an interview of him with Peter Mansbridge.
Oh, I've seen that one, dude.
Oh man, that one's a tough one to get through. Because you just imagine what's going through his head, man. And it's like, whew, holy moly, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's obviously go with someone who's, went through some crap. I mean, someone that comes to mind possibly would be, I don't know if this is just relevance and like recency bias because I just recently watched the movie, but maybe like Jackie Robinson. Because
my God,
like what a superstar, and then like all the crap he had to go through coming into the league, being the first black baseball player to break the color barrier, and being able to be a superstar throughout all of it, and just sit there and same thing with you, right? Pick his brain. I just watched the 42, the Jackie Robinson movie, and it was like, whoa, man.
Yeah,
I
love that movie. I love that movie.
I think you'd be a real interesting person to talk to. That could just be that question. If you ask again in 6 months, would probably be a different answer, but probably recency from watching that movie. But I think that's a good historic sports star that has a lot of gravity in his sport that I would like to talk to.
Yeah, and during that movie, I mean, they touch on some major issues with the racism and the changing times.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine how many other times there was when he felt like cracking or snapping,
Oh, yeah.
and he didn't. But the ones they do portray, man,
Yeah.
what a personality
With
to be able to
the,
persevere through all of that.
The manager, was it the Cleveland Indians coach? Is that who it was? Who was on his back there? Yeah. Gnarly.
Man, I can't believe we haven't come further. I mean, if you go back, what is it, maybe 100, 150 years? And we've advanced so much.
If you look at some of the stuff that's just like changed in the past 40 years, it's like, what? Like basically like in your lifetime, they were still doing that? It's mind-boggling. But there's still a long way to go, obviously. Look at the state of America at the moment, right? And who's to say, look at the state of Canada, too, with the native population and the racism towards the natives here.
Dude.
So, yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, I still can't believe racism's a thing, though. I think we are better than that. But,
fair,
man,
yeah.
there's some bad apples that just keep sinking the ship for the rest of
That's
us.
definitely for another. That's a full podcast episode, that right there. You can touch on it and say your piece, but, man, that's a deep conversation if we ever want to get into that on one of these 0.5s. the podcast 5.5. Yeah, I'm kind of narrowing it down to a couple here out of these lame ball questions. This is a good one, actually, for someone like you with the lack of sleep. What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night?
What
oh
is
my
your
God.
What is your boogeyman?
Wow.
I could tell you mine.
Okay, you go first then. I'm going to ponder this.
I'll tell you, it definitely touches back with the last conversation. And maybe it's a diagnosable problem for anyone out there listening. What keeps me up at night is the realization of the amount of time left of me being able to sleep before I have to get up. That is the sole thing that keeps me up at night. Laying in bed, it's midnight. I got to work at 6. I have to be up at 5. I tell my brain, you have 5 hours of sleep if you fall asleep right now. And then I lay there thinking about that. And then I look at the clock and it's 12:30. And I tell myself, if you fall asleep right now, you have 4.5 hours of sleep you will get. And then I lay there and I think about that. And then 1 o'clock, lather, rinse, repeat. Until I'm laying there at 3 in the morning, telling myself, you dummy, you're only going to get 2 hours of sleep now. That is the sole thing that keeps me up at night. I have no other problems in my life. I'm fed well. Obviously, I'm fat. Bills are paid. Very lucky, very fortunate to have a good job. Got gas in the car. Everything's good. My problem with time keeps me up at night. What a silly first world problem, eh?
You've got me there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, if you've got financial struggles, money is probably number one.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got something going on with personal relationships, that's probably number 2. And I could probably touch on both of those in more detail. But no matter how fatigued I am and I think I'm ready for bed, I don't know what it is, but I end up doing the same thing you are. Well, I've only got 3 more hours of sleep. Maybe I'll catch a nap before.
Right. Yeah.
And I've never had a problem sleeping before, like legitimately, but it's probably been maybe the last 10 years where I found that I don't want to call it insomnia, but I've never seen a doctor. But yeah, something just is like, here we go. My mind won't turn off, but there's nothing pertinent racing through
your
it.
body's pooched, right? You're gassed. You're in bed. You feel good in bed. You're comfortable. You're like, okay. But then the mind is just like buzzing around like a bee, calculating time and and then like, I don't know, I'll tell myself like, oh, think about something else. And I'll lay there and I'll start to like categorize things or, think about work or think about talking with you, think about the game that was on last night, think of anything. And then that doesn't shut my brain off. I just immediately suck back into the time thought. And it's like, oh yeah, it's been a half hour of you doing that, dum-dum. And and then it just, next thing you know, you have a nap and you wake up and you go to work and it's brutal, right? But
yeah.
I'm
thinking it would
me
be
up at night.
Yeah. I'm going to have to say that if I could disconnect from my phone and my watch better, and I know more and more people are getting into this.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it was a thing where I could put my phone away and unwind and not worry about my phone, even though I have a sleep time reminder on my phone that your wind down time is coming. It's probably become second nature that's like another appendage, and I am addicted to my phone. I won't lie.
Yeah.
I try, but I'm addicted.
Definitely. And I wonder if like just getting an old analog alarm clock would help start to fix that. And then disconnect from the device, have your plug in the other room, and when it's bedtime, it's bedtime. Like I was able to do that with my television for a year. I now have a TV in the bedroom again, and it's nice to watch TV and fall asleep to again. But I was able to cut the head off the snake there. I wonder if you're onto something there. I wonder if it's the device beside my head sucking me back in, watching one more TikTok, scrolling through one more page of news or what have you. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think that we do rely on it too much, and a lot of us use it as some other type of amusement. So if you got to put it down, you can't look at it, you're missing it.
Yeah,
and I think that's what I'm doing is I'm missing my phone for lack of my mind not turning off, I think.
Yeah. Huh. That's good, yeah. Having that conversation, I don't know if you've ever heard of Rhett and Link, Good Mythical Morning on YouTube, but they have a morning show. And they just do things. They have it's like a 10 to 15 minute little morning show where they do an activity or they cook food and they try the food and they play little mini games with each other and have little competitions or, just talk. And anyhow, at one point it came up that's what he does. He was able to remove the device from the bedroom, go to an analog clock, and when it's bedtime, the charger's in the bathroom, plugs in the phone in the bathroom, and he goes to bed and he disconnects at that point. And it's helped him a lot in that regard. I never thought about that with you saying like having your watch and your phone beside you keeping you up, and that very well could be what it is. These damn things right here that are attached to our hips, right?
Those damn things.
All right. Well, it's been a good episode 5.5 without our buddy Chris. I think we can wrap it up there, man.
Right on.
Yeah. Anything any last words of wisdom to say for our fans out there? Put you on the spot. Come with something good.
No, I think that's it for this show, my man. I've got nothing right now.
All right, man. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. All our 6 followers. We love every one of you.